All right, good morning, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me. Can anyone hear me? All right, all right. Thank you, Emmanuel. So, this morning, okay, first of all, my name is Antonia. For those that don't know me, I'm on the PHP backend team, and this morning we'll be diving into HTML. For those of us on the technical team. You should be familiar with HTML. And for those of us that are not on the technical team, I'll try my possible best to explain what HTML is. And I believe at the end of this KG session, you should be able to write um, an HTML script, right? So yeah, that's all. So moving on, we will be looking into what HTML is, a brief history of HTML and what an HTML document looks like. That just say script earlier. Document, yeah, and some key HTML elements we have and what semantic HTML is, and yeah, so also after this presentation, I will also walk us through what a typical HTML document looks like. So yeah. So HTML simply stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So it is the standard language that is used to create the structure and content of our web pages. Most of the web pages that we see online that so basically all the websites that we visit, yeah, HTML is the standard hypertext markup language that is used to structure the content of any website we visit. Okay, so yeah, some people. So there is a debate that HTML can also be referred to as a programming language. Well, rather than be a programming language, it is a markup language. And what do I mean by a markup language? Basically, it uses tags, yeah, to annotate text, images, links, and whatever content you want to embed in your website so that the web browsers can know how to display them. All right. So when you hear hypertext, just like hyperlink, so hypertext simply refers to the the text that contains links to other text. Hypertext is basically a text that contains links to other text, just like links. And when you hear markup, what does markup? It basically refers to the tags or the tags that marks an element in a web page. All right. So basically, what HTML does is it is used to structure the content of our web document clearly, right? And it is the essential building block for all websites. It is everywhere in the digital world. HTML is everywhere in the digital world. It is very, very paramount. It is the use of HTML can't be a website. It is used to structure the content of our web pages. All right, moving on. So HTML was created by Tim Berners-Lee. Is the inventor of the World Wide Web. Yes. So HTML was created in 1991 by this man, and he in 1997 HTML became the official World Wide Web consortium standard. So the World Wide Web consortium standard is like a body, right, that regulates what that regulates the content of our website. Basically, they have other functions. So in 1997, HTML became like the official unifying web development norms. Meanwhile, in 1995, the HTML 2.0 was released, which was the first standardized version of HTML, right? And In 1999, HTML became widely adopted across the whole world. Okay, then it was 1999 that they introduced more complex elements as well of HTML. So basically, this man that invented HTML, Tim Berners, did justice to all of this. Is until date, HTML is still very, very relevant.
Antonia, please make it full screen, please.
Oh, sorry, that slipped my mind. Okay, moving on. So, what does an HTML document look like? What does it look like? Oh, sorry, let me move this. Yeah. What does an HTML document look like? So we have the doc type, which is the declaration we make at the start of an HTML document. It declares the HTML version. So it declares that this is a document as an HTML5 document. Then we also have the head. In the head, we embed metadata like the page title, the heading, the styling, any link, the style link. So we have the title, which sets the title of our web page, right? I'll be showing us what that looks like later. Then we also have the body that houses the content. All the visible content on the web page is being housed in the body. Okay, so basically the basic structure of an HTML document is the doc type, which is the declaration of the document, the HTML, which is the root HTML, which is the root element that wraps all the content. Then we have the head that contains metadata such as our page title, our character encoding, and all other info that is not visible on the page. All right. So, and we have the title. Obviously, you need to give your web page a title, right? When we visit, you want to know what this is all about. So we also have the body. So basically, and let me also mention that for every opening tag, there is a closing tag. Let's take note. So for every opening tag, there is a closing tag. You notice that there is HTML here, and and the closing tag is being represented with a backward slash in HTML. See, this is the body opening tag, and this is the body closing tag. This is an example of head opening tag, and this is the example. Oh, it's not there. All right, so when I want to close this head now, I introduce the backward slash, then the head. Just confirm if you can still hear me. Am I still audible, please?
Yes, clearly, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Victoria. So some key HTML elements and tags that we have headings, which ranges from H1 to H6. H1, which is the first heading. Let me break it down in a very simpler time. So H1 is like the big heading, then H2 is like a small heading. What do I mean by that? Now, when you make use of H2, now the font size is smaller compared to H1. When you make use of H3, the H3 font size is smaller compared to H2. H2 smaller compared to H1. When you make use of H4 heading, it is smaller compared to H3. So depending on the size you want your heading to have, right? And it is the main title. Then we also have paragraph that is represented with the P. So this is where we all know what paragraph is. When you want to give the web content any paragraph, you make use of the paragraph tag. Then we also have links, which is represented with A. This is where we embed whatever link. Maybe you want to link text or want to link pages together, or you want to, it might even be a link to another website. So we make use of this tag, this A. We make use of this tag to embed our links. Then we can also embed images into our web page, right? And we want to embed image, we make use of this tag. Then we also have what we call the list, the UL, which is the unordered list, and the OL, which is the ordered list. All right. Now the UL, when we say unordered list, that means you want to list in a bullet point, using bullet points. Okay. So ordered list, when you use the ordered list tags, that means you want your list to be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. But when you use the UL, you want to introduce the unordered list, which is the bullet point. So basically, each tag has their own function, and they help organize our content effectively. So it is very, very important that we know when to make use of a particular tag, right? Especially the headings, because the font size varies. Imagine a place where you're meant to use the H1 tag and you introduce an H4 tag. That's like way, way small. But the font size is very, very small. All right. So it is very important that we know when to introduce these tags. All right. And because they help organize content, our web content effectively. So semantic elements. So basically, semantic HTML means using HTML elements according to their meaning and not just how they look. I'll come again. When we say semantic HTML, it means using HTML elements according to their meaning and not how they look. We have the header. Now, the header is the top section of our web page. When we visit a website, those places that have the top part of our website where we can navigate to other pages, that is our header. So it's for the top section and it's for navigation, right? You'll notice that most websites, the header, when you click on a particular word at the top of your screen, it directs you to another place. So basically, your header is for the top section. Top section is for navigation, right? Then we have our footer. Our footer is the bottom section of our web page. In our footer, most websites, in the footer you have the social media and the social media profile. You can see their support contacts there. You can see their the links to other pages too, their WhatsApp support contacts, their mail support contacts. So basically, the footer is at the bottom of our web page. We also have our article, which is for our content. All right, is the self-contained content. We also have sections. Section is basically um like when you want to group your content here, I can say, okay, this section is for let's say for instance, we want to build a website for a food vendor. Sorry, a food content blogger. Let me just use it that way. So we can say this section is for swallow. So inside that section, we'll have different type of swallow, wheat swallow, yam flour swallow, and swallow, cassava swallow. So we can say the next session we want to group the soup, the different type of soup we have. We have vegetables, we have jute leaves and soup, whatever. So basically, section is used for the thematic grouping of our content, right? So these are semantic elements, okay? So and accessibility. So basically, this semantic HTML helps improve screen reader navigation and user experience. It helps improve user experience because when you go to a site, as a user, you want clearance once you pick a site. Imagine you trying to order something from Jumia and everywhere everything is just jammed up. There is no header to help you navigate how to go about it. There is no the search filter. I'm sure you'll be frustrated and you end up leaving that kind of website. So basically, this semantic HTML, they help improve screen reader navigation and user experience. Then also for engine optimization. So basically, search engines better understand page structure and content. Okay, so for optimization, so these semantic elements are very, very important. Okay, that would be all from my end. For the purpose of emphasis again, I mentioned what HTML is. HTML being the acronym for Hypertext Markup Language, and how it is used to structure the content of our web page, right? And how we do, and I mentioned the history of HTML. I was invented by this man, and how it became the official World Wide Web Consortium standard, unifying web development norms. I also mentioned what the structure of an HTML document looks like, the doc type, the doc type for the declaration, the head that contains the metadata, the body, and I'll be showing us a practical example layout later on. So I mentioned some key HTML elements and tags and what they mean. We want to make use of our images, the tags we use, heading, paragraphs, links, the ordered list, the difference between the ordered list and unordered list. Ordered list means the whole, which means you want your list to be numbered 1, 2, 3. But when you make use of the UL, which is the unordered list, you want it to be in a bullet point form. Now, I just mentioned what semantic HTML does, how we can use semantic elements to, such as header, footer, article section, and the role they play, how we can use semantic elements. So, and I mentioned that semantic elements just using HTML elements according to their meaning. Don't just say you want to embed it anywhere. Every semantic HTML element has their own meaning, and they are very important because they help users, they help screen readers navigate a website or interpret the content very well, and also for SEO, and they help make your clip even cleaner and easy to read. I forgot to mention that because even when someone that is not the technical team, when they pick up your okay, don't let me confuse that. But basically, it makes your code cleaner and easier to read. So in conclusion, but if you want to learn more about HTML, you can visit W3 schools, right? They have comprehensive tutorials on HTML and web technologies. Okay, so then you can get your hands on different coding challenges and projects. HTML is very sweet. So basically that would be all. Thank you. Any question before I ask my own question? Does anybody have any question?
Yeah, I have a question, just one. Can you hear me?
Brian, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
So my question is, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
My question is, in the structure of an HTML, HTML stuff, is there any implication when you remove doc type, HTML, and head, and you're only left with body? Is there any implication on your website if you don't have any of these I mentioned and you only have body, or you start writing your structure your website? Do you understand my question?
You're saying when we don't declare our web content, is that an implication? Is that your question?
You don't have doc type, you don't have HTML tag, you don't have edge, you only
Yes,
start
yes.
with
Yes, there is an implication. Yes, there is an implication when you don't declare your HTML documents, because your browser won't be able to interpret or render your page. So you have to declare it. So basically, what that doc type does, it tells your browser that this is a version of HTML that your web page is written in. So you not declaring it, then your browser does not know what you're saying, so it will render your page. So, and this doc type, don't worry, when I show you what um the practical and basic structure of what an HTML document looks like. So it has an implication. Your browser won't be able to read, so you have to declare first before any other thing. Did I answer your question, Ibrahim?
Yeah, I still have something to say. Most of the browser nowadays, even if, like I read, even if you don't declare the doc type, you don't specify the version of an HTML you're using, they take it as HTML file, which they can the current version of the HTML, unless you want to use something else. I mean, other version of HTML. That's when you need to specify the doc type. Do you get?
I can. Your background is very noisy, so I'm trying to pick up what you're saying. Are you still there? Okay, while we wait for Ibrahim, let me just. Does anybody have any other question? Okay. The first question: can anyone tell us the full meaning of HTML? Please, let's be fast. I still want to show us something before we head this. Please, you can unmute and speak. If you don't know the answer to the first question, if this is the last question, you can unmute and say something. Hello.
Yeah, sorry. HTML is hypertext markup language.
Thank you for that, Douglas. Who invented HTML? What year? Can anyone tell me who invented HTML and what year it was invented? Nobody. That means I've been talking to myself since.
Yeah, it was invented by Tim Berners-Lee in
Yeah, thank
1991.
you. Thank you so much, Douglas, for that. Douglas is the only person that attended KD today. The rest of you did not attend KD. Can someone please mention two HTML elements?
We have the headings and the paragraphs.
Thank you so much, Temiloluwa. All right, thank you guys for answering my question. At least you proved that my effort was not in vain. Anyway, and for those of you that did not answer my question, I've marked your faces. So let me quickly share what a basic HTML may look like. Yep. Okay, so this is what an HTML script looks like. This is a CSS. This is a cascade styling sheet. Whatever, please. But this is what an HTML. You can see I introduced my header. Inside my header, introduced my H1, which is welcome to my site. And I mentioned that for every opening tag, there is a closing tag, and introduced a section here. Then inside the section, you notice that I used H2. Now I want this about me to be like a subtopic. Let me just use it that way, a subtitle. So I introduced H2 here. Then I used the paragraph here. Inside the paragraph, I embedded It's simple text here. And I also used H2 here for my second title heading, right? And I also embedded another paragraph. Then I made use of UL in another list here. Then after introducing my another list opening tag, and I introduced the list tag. And I mentioned that we want to embed link, we use the list tag A. So I embedded link here. So this is what basic HTML document looks like here. Now, without this CSS, the document I just showed you will just be bland. Let me just put it that way. It will just be white and black. No, it won't be well structured. Let me just put it that way. But with the use of CSS, I give you margin, padding, background colors. I told so that's another topic in that. That's another presentation on its own CSS. But for now, our focus is HTML. And when we go to also you can run your HTML document in your browser. You don't need any server or anything. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This is my header and this is my footer. And this is a section. Inside the section, remember the H1. Remember that I used H1, so this is bigger. I used H2 for this in my section. And this is the paragraph that I introduced. Now, I used H2 for this heading 2, my favorite places. And don't forget the another list that I told you that it's been represented with bullet points. If I change it to OL now, it will be numbered 1, 2, 3, right? And so if I click on this now, this, because I embedded a link there, when I click on it, it takes me to another website. Can someone confirm if they can see my screen?
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay, so basically what it is, you can see that this I embedded my link here in my backend. So if I click on Paris, it takes me to another website because it is a link. Any link you want to embed in this, whether it's a link to your whatever, you can just embed it there. So that would be all for today's KD session. Thank you everyone for joining and thank you for listening to me. Is Victoria still on the call? She's not on the call. Victoria.
Hi, Antonia. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry, my environment is a bit noisy. Have a productive day.